it's Rokan, and this is the season 1 episode 16 review of Supernatural Shadow. So I'm doing like a recap or review of every single episode of Supernatural, so let's get into it. This episode felt a lot different than every other episode, and I feel like the last 2 videos I've said that. This one truly. Now we're kind of in the second half of the first season, and we're kind of gearing up to the finale. And so I'm sure at this point in the writer's room, they're like, okay, this is kind of what we want to do the finale. We need to make points leading up to it. We can't just like have every episode be like another hunt, and then the last episode they're like fighting this demon, or it's like about the demon. They need a few episodes sprinkle in where it has that factor of the demon and what they're going to come to in a finale. So this kind of starts as like a case where they're searching for something, and then they run into Meg, and this is our first time seeing, other than the dad, like really like another like character we've seen before, because it's really like all new characters every single episode. And like Sam is very suspicious right away that like they ran into Meg again, because you know the country's big. I feel like I don't remember him being like this suspicious, and I feel like he like didn't need to be this suspicious, but I mean in the end it makes sense. But it ended up being a trap, and so basically the kind of like Meg, they were like killing people trying to like trap them in, but then they were also picking people who were from Lawrence, Kansas. I think like that was her way of being like, oh, they'll see that this person's from Lawrence, Kansas, and like want to investigate. But they ended up like investigating this case without like finding out that detail first. Like they found out that detail later on, and so like it ended up being like a trap for the dad. And so they called the dad, this obviously before they found out it was a trap. And then it seems like Meg dies, and then they go back to the motel and the dad's there. This is the first time it's not the first time we've seen the dad. This is the first time they've seen the dad since he's gone missing. And this is like, I don't remember this. Like I kind of remembered like a little bit about this episode. Like I recalled some things, but I didn't realize like their dad came back this episode. Like I really thought the first episode back with the dad was that vampire episode that is coming up, because I know it's at the end of season 1. So I don't know, maybe it's in 2 or 3 episodes, I don't know. But yeah, the dad's there and he's like, I knew it was a trap. And then Meg comes back, and so then they split up again with the dad. And that's kind of where the episode goes. There's also, I forget when in the episode, but Sam and Dean are kind of talking about like, okay, when the demon said like, this is what we're gonna do, and Sam wants to go back to college, and Dean kind of like says like hunting, like he wants, you know, to do with Sam, and he can't do it alone, or what exactly he says. But yeah, so that's why it feels very different than all these other episodes. It's because you know, they, in the end, they're not like hunting something and they don't save anyone. It's kind of more that they like start off with the case, obviously, but it's something that kind of like, it's the thing about this episode that feels different is it doesn't feel episodic. And the thing about like TV back then to now is TV used to be way more episodic than it is now. And obviously episodic shows have, you know, serial show traits, obviously like Supernatural did. But in I feel like serial shows now can't even be episodic. And if you don't know what episodic and serial mean, it's kind of like episodic is like where you can just like watch a standalone episode on your own, like even if it's your first episode and it like there's a story from start to beginning. Serial, it's kind of like there's an ongoing storyline and everything. I think Lost was like the first one that like really took on the serial trope, but I feel like that was, people were like, wow, that's so shocking then, like Lost. But like if you compare Lost to shows now, like Lost would be considered episodic. They would just leave Lost like on a cliffhanger. Like that's really what it was. But all shows now are serial. Like I feel like most, like I can't even think of any shows that are like really episodic that's like on air now. And I think that's just kind of like how the industry went. Like no one forced it, but that's kind of how the world changed with streaming. But I feel like episodic shows, like I still love them because I just feel like they're more interesting. Because also the number of episodes in the season changed, so that's why they feel like they have less, you know, it's less episodes, so they have to do so much, and then they can't have like individual episodes on its own. Anyway, Supernatural is an episodic show. Even in the last season, like, it's still episodic, serial traits, as we discussed. So this is like the first episode that felt like not episodic, because you kind of had to know a lot of like backstory of like all the 15 episodes prior to this, like what was happening, like who this person is, and like where this is leading. So it feels different than the other episodes thus far because of that reason. Not because like, oh, like one of them is in danger. Yes, they're in danger in this, but it's different than that. So we also talk about monster of the week, and so there's these shadow things. So technically, like if you want to say that's a monster, I don't remember exactly what they were, but I think it was some like blood ritual thing that Meg did to like get them. I don't know. Also, we talk a lot about like saving the girl. There was no saving the girl aspect, but I do want to bring up the fact that like the villain is kind of the girl. Like the demon, I think we can assume is obviously it's a man if you watch the show, but I think we can also assume it's a man because in the first episode it was like a man there. But I think it's so obviously the man is a villain, but I think we're not, you know, fighting him yet. We're not, you know, contacted him yet. It's just this female character. So I think it's interesting that they did choose like a female villain, and especially she's someone that like Sam like kind of is into at some form or aspect. So it's kind of interesting they did that. I mean, obviously it would be different if it was, you know, a male demon, because, you know, it'd be a different vibe if Sam picked that person up on the road. And yeah, but it's just interesting that they kind of went down this way. But those are my thoughts and feelings about this episode of Supernatural. Very, very different. And I'm sure as the season goes along, we're going to see more episodes like this as we lead up to the finale, where it doesn't feel as episodic. That doesn't necessarily mean the episodes are bad. They just feel different and it feels off. As someone who's like critiquing it, and maybe it is less intriguing to watch. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, comment your thoughts about the episode, and then I'll do the 17th episode video. Bye.